Hi, this is Kerry Artek with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily Tesla report for Thursday, June 15th, 2023. Before I click through all the charts, I want to encourage you to please click like, please click subscribe, and share the content if you would with friends and colleagues. And also, please check out wickedstocks.com, where we offer a full suite of both daily and weekly analytical videos, just like the Tesla report. We do daily triple Q, daily SPY analysis, weekly analysis in the S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, and the long bond ETF, the TLT, as well as two individual stock picks a week that you never see on YouTube that cater to more of the 3 to 5 week longer term swing trader to 3 to 5 month near term investor, always looking for 20% moves on the underlying stocks we're analyzing. So check out wickedstocks.com. On with the charts. I don't need to remind you, but I will anyway, that a few weeks ago, we settled above an 18-month descending channel top at 203.08. That set off a meaningful long-term buy signal. By long-term, I mean I think we're going to get above 271.37 before the year is out. Let me put it that way. Whether or not we reach the all-time high, going back to 414.49 by the end of the year is another question altogether. I will say yes if we settle soon above the low 270s. Until then, we could fall off from here, as I've been saying. This is our midterm target, the 270.49 to 271.37 region. Convergence right now between a long-term speed line and rising channel top that has been our quick 2 to 3 month target that is now almost in reach within 3 weeks. And here we are. Vertical move, nice rally off that 203.08 buy signal. The low 270s able to contain buying on a monthly, possibly quarterly basis. We can grow overbought from here as we move into the third quarter and fall back. How far south? Well, we'll just take that one day at a time, I think, initially. And I'll just go to the daily chart for that. Once we test the low 270s, 272.20, by the way, on the daily chart, we can fall back within a week or two into the low to mid 240s, but we could perhaps fall all the way back into the low 200 area following a test of this channel top, because the channel bottom of the channel top, it's nothing more than a trend line right now, but it will become a channel bottom once we test the 271.37 channel top. Will be converging over the next couple of months with the 203.08 descending channel top. So yes, we could rotate back to the channel bottom is really what I will say. I don't have that exact number for you right now. It's in the 180s or 190s and rising. And that is the dynamic that I see could play out. We push into low 270s, we fall back to the channel bottom. We rotate back up perhaps, so forth and so on. We could trade inside the structure for some time. So that is the big picture, and that's really all I'm going to say about that. Let's move on to, the day itself. I've got 258.15. That's that long-term Fibonacci level, that goes back to, the extreme high from November of 21 to the January 23 pullback low. 258.15. I would say we've had some hesitation here. And we even closed above it on Tuesday by a hair, backed off on Wednesday, closed back below it. I've reduced it to just a minor intraday pivot point. And I'm going to leave this chart open. I don't have it labeled, but I'm going to show you that if we do push or open today above 258.15, you should allow for 265.74 intraday. And I say allow because to call it a buy signal as such is a bit of a stretch. But given the buy signal that we've had, the fact that this updraft continues, above the low 240s anyway, as we move into next week, pushing or opening above 258.15, you should allow for 265.74 intraday. 265.74, if you can see the cursor, you can see that there was this, a pullback low here that goes back to September of 22, I believe. You've got this sort of double, triple top thing. The intermediate low was 265.74. You have this pullback high was in the 264 handle at the time, but I'm really kind of leaning on 265.74 as an area that, if tested, can contain session strength. I don't expect it to contain buying through next week or anything. I'm still anticipating the low 270s. So I will say if we close back above this pullback low, 265.74 today, we could actually tomorrow reach that targeted 272.20 channel top. So yes, closing above 265.74, expect 272.20 tomorrow. That would meet our midterm target following the settlement several weeks ago above 203.08. So if you bought the 265, 275 out of the money calls and we're pushing into the low 270s, you can take at least some profits here because I think the chances of rotating back into the mid 240s within a week or two are very good. And I think there's a decent chance that over the next few months, 2 to 3 months or sooner, we could rotate all the way back to the channel bottom, which is presently, and I'm just merely eyeballing it, as I said earlier, in the 180s, I believe. So, but there's no point in really overemphasizing this structure well below the market right now until we actually tag 272.20 and fall off from it. Then this trend line, this then channel bottom, will have renewed meaning, even greater meaning as a long-term floor of support, and holding within the confines of this channel would actually maintain a bullish trend as we move through the rest of the year. And once again, closing above 272.20, I don't see that this week, but if we were to close above this structure anytime soon and above the speed line, 414.49, I think, becomes a realistic 3 to 5 month target. And that would put us by the end of the year. Let's talk downside today. I've got 252.97 as a steeply rising channel bottom that takes account of the last couple of weeks of trade. I think it is well suited to contain daily selling pressures, and I also think that if we close below it, it will indicate a good high for the week, which I recognize isn't saying much because we're talking Thursday right now. If we close below 252.97, I think the low 240s, mid 240s are likely tomorrow. And I'm still going to stick by this area, this band of channel support that we gapped above about 3 days ago. That is a new base of support near term only, able to contain weekly selling pressures, as you can see here to the far right, which is to say by this point in time through next week, if tested over the next day or two. So if we test 241.72 to 243.49, by the way, that is not an updated chart. I'm not sure exactly why. This is an updated chart. We'll stick with this one. 242.38 to 244.16 is able. I don't see this today. If we break 252.97, though, we might, and I just showed that a moment ago. 242.38 to 44.16, able to contain selling through next week. And from here, we can rotate back up into the low 270s again. Not again, because we haven't reached it yet. But we can rotate back into the low 270s, up into the low 270s within a week or two of testing the 242.38 to 44.16 area. Last thing I'll say is if we were to close below 242.38 and you bought those out of the money calls, 265, 270, 275 out of the money calls that I mentioned, you might consider doing when we closed above this 203.08 channel top a few weeks ago. If you haven't taken any profits, then you might put some away by that point in time, because if we close back below this mid-band of 240-255 on the weekly chart, I think this thing can unravel in a meaningful way. I don't mean to rattle anybody's cage, but I do think that there's nothing to say that we couldn't unravel all the way back into the low 200 area within a few weeks. This rally has been significant, substantial, and increasingly vertical, and I think once the high is in, it can give it back. I don't think it's going to give it all back, but it can give plenty back, back into the low 200 area. Wouldn't surprise me. That becomes signaled if we close back below 242.38. That is all I've got for Thursday's Tesla Report. I'll be back tomorrow with Fridays. Please click like, share, subscribe, and check out wickedstocks.com. Thank you.